Today on the Magic for Life podcast, we have Carrie Thomas-Omaur. She's a branding and marketing strategist and designer. Her focus is to help impact-driven entrepreneurs who want their message heard while not being salesy. I'm excited to share her story with you, so let's cue the intro and get started. I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast, and I'm excited that you joined me today because today we have Carrie Thomas-Omaur. Thank you so much for joining us. I said it right? I said your last
You did. It's pretty close enough. It's Omaro,
Okay.
but everybody goes with Omaro.
Oh, okay, Omaro. Oh, well, I totally messed it up. I was close, though. I thought I had it.
Yeah, you were super close.
Okay. Well, I am so thankful to have you here today and to have you join us. And we met on a talk show. How funny is that, right?
I know, it's so fun. Like literally, like that was probably the best one I've been on.
It was exciting. We had a good time. It was a few hours of great fun, and we all got to meet a bunch of really cool people. And I was so privileged to meet you, and excited to have you on the show because I wanted to share with everybody your story and share with them your vibrance and exuberance for life and entrepreneurship and what it is that you do. And I'm not going to butcher it because you can tell it much better. But I wanted to start kind of with your backstory and give everybody a chance to learn about who Carrie is and, of course, Caretober, because how can you miss out on that, right?
Oh my gosh, Caretober. I love it. So a little bit about me. I came into the entrepreneurship. I'm still very new to it. I started July of last year. But I tell anybody we didn't really get started until like December because we were playing business for a long time. Like we were just like, my husband were around like, yeah, we have a business. Until October and then like to December, I was okay. We have to actually have a business now. So in December, like we really like just start pushing forward, and it's been a crazy ride. Even during COVID and stuff like that, we were very lucky to meet some really amazing people at the beginning of the year and just really start building relationships and connections. And now we're here now, going on 6 figures.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great. So tell us a bit more about why you decided to jump into entrepreneurship.
Oh man. So I've always been a person that believes that I knew I would like I always felt like I was meant to do something and meant to make an impact. Like when I was younger, like I used to want to work for be in the military as a JAG officer, but sadly my dreams went away because I messed up my ACL, my meniscus, and then I got bronchitis 4 times in like 2 months. And even though I was able to get my
Wow.
knee fixed, I had bronchitis 4 times, and like, yeah, it was crazy. And then I got asthma, but they said my asthma was so bad that they were like, you can't, like, you're gonna have asthma. Like, people will know you have asthma. Like to the point, like I was running, I felt like I was gonna die. Like I even went to like a military college and everything, and like they were like, yeah, you can't be in the military. So my JAG officer life just went away. And then my second back, and then my back thing was always like, if I couldn't be in the military, I wanted to work for United Nations. So I wanted to work for the GA3 committee, which is social, culture, and humanitarian. Because like when I was in high school, I was watching CNN Heroes, and there was a woman who's over in Mani, Nepal. And like she was like 70 years old, and she was like busting down doors, like helping, like pretty much like getting girls, like little girls, and like just out of like human trafficking. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like an impact. Like I want to do stuff like that. Um, so that's where it started. Like I always was like, Carrie, like you are meant to do something. I don't know what that something is, but you're meant to make an impact. And I was always in the corporate world, always doing the corporate things, and I always had people come to me about certain things. People are coming to me like, "Hey, Carrie, hey, can you help me like create this?" Or, "Oh, how did you do this?" Or like, because I would do like little stuff. Like I had like a virgin hair company, and we got really big very easy just by like creating relationships and being visible. This is my niece. It's not gonna have service. It's not gonna have service. Shh, bye. I don't have it plugged up. That's my 7-year-old niece.
That's okay.
Goodbye. I gave her my old cell phone. She's like, "This
Oh
not
no.
working." Um, but yeah, so like that's where it started. And then like I just had people always coming to me like, "Carrie, like, how were you able to get like the Virgin Hair Company to like where people kind of knew where you were?" And I was like, "Well, I was just focused on like being visible and being present and just making sure that like whatever I put out like was constant and consistent across everywhere I went." And like in my head, I was like, "That's simple." But when I realized it wasn't simple to a lot of people. And then even when I got into the restaurant industry, like I was in corporate America in the restaurant world, and like I worked for Subway corporate office, and you think Subway people know who you are, but I had restaurants that were struggling with being visible, and I'm like, how are we struggling with visibility? Like we're Subway, like I don't understand.
Right,
And I
right.
was like, talk to your people, and they're like, talk to the people around you. I was like, yeah, just talk to the people around you, create relationships, do things, and they're like, oh, that does make sense. And I'm like, y'all don't understand this? Like, nobody understands this. So then we got into the entrepreneur world, and I was like, I want to do everything, of course. I want to do all the things. And then, like, but there was one thing that kept sticking out is like we were helping people be present and be visible through like graphics and designs and things like that. And I was like, if that is our focus, if that's what I'm good at, Carrie, just stop doing all this other stuff and just focus on helping people be visible and present. Like help, like clearly you've cracked the code. Just focus on the code and just show people how to keep being present, how to keep being visible. Because people, our clients, they see our stuff all the time. They're like, Carrie, I feel like you're just like jumping out at me every time I go on Facebook. And I'm like, I'm like, really? I was like, I didn't even post today. I feel like you're posting like 20 times a day, Carrie. I was like, I don't like they always say that. And I'm like, we posted like once today. But it's just because like we cracked the code about like creating those relationships with people, and then also making sure that our visuals are scroll stopping and people notice them. And I was like, if you create relationships that have stuff that's scroll stopping, you're always gonna win.
Right. Man, and that seems for people that don't know how to do that, which is like everybody. It does seem like it's very hard. And so like you
Yeah.
said, if you've cracked the code, man, holy cow, people need to get in and talk with you, because if you figured it out, this is why we have mentors. This is why we have coaches, because
Hmm.
you've got it going, right? I love this. You keep saying be present and visible. And that's awesome. It's like so straightforward, and yet so many people don't do it, right? it's
Yeah.
it's what do you think it is that keeps people back from being present and visible?
I think it's like I think one of the biggest issues what happens is people in your head, like you have a goal. Like you, of course everybody has a goal. Like I want to be successful. I want to have these things happen, but you have to be consistent. And the only way to be present and visible is also a key word of being consistent and have consistency. So you have this goal, you know the goal is that you need to have traffic, you need people to see you, but I don't want to do the work to be consistent.
Right,
So then you're like, oh well, I can't be present and visible because I can't be consistent.
right. It's like this loop, right?
It's a circle. It's a
Yeah,
circle.
for sure. Well,
And it's
what
funny because it's hmm?
oh no, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I said it's funny because with you guys about mindset, a lot of it's mindset. Like the idea of like this is the goal I want to achieve, and like and a lot of times people say like, oh, well, I'm so busy. That's why I can't be consistent. But it's not that you're busy, it's that you have a block up saying that you're not ready for that next step.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And where do you find is the turning point for people? Like, what do you think it is that makes them shift their mindset to be able to start to do or be consistent?
I think for I would say for my clients is we have a talk, and I really let them know. I said, hey, your mission is bigger than you. Your message is bigger than you. I was like, so if you keep not being consistent, not being visible, not being present, how many people are going to be missing out on this opportunity to learn from you? How many people who, and I get real, I'm not gonna lie, I get super dark with them, and they're like, Carrie, like, is it that deep? I'm like, yes. I was like, let's say that you have there's a girl that is like depressed and sad, and like your message could change her life and change like her whole like trajectory of everything she does, and you decide not to be loud about it. You decide not to be consistent. How, like, what's gonna happen to that girl? And they're like, okay, Carrie, I'll post tomorrow. I'm like, thank you.
Way to hit them where it hurts. That's it. You got that's no, that makes such a big difference though. And I think when people realize that it can really change a lot to be able to do that. Now you talk a lot about, like even your website, brandingwithcarrie.com, right? You're talking about
Mhm.
branding. And how does branding, from how you see it and how you work with it, correlate with your being present and visible? Like, how do those things all kind of work together for you?
So for me, I first would say what is branding? So when you think about it, branding is the gut feeling that someone has about your business and your service. So if you know that there's a certain, and the thing is like, and when you think about gut feeling, that means that you have like beings, people who are kind of coming up with their idea of what your brand is. So what you want to do is you want to position yourself by being consistent and visible with a singular message that makes everybody see and gut feeling be consistent with what you want them to have. So you want to make sure wherever your messaging shows up the right way, you want to make sure that your visuals show up the right way, and you want to make sure that you're doing it consistently. So when they see it those multiple amount of times, they're like, "Hey, Carrie does branding, and she always talks about presence and visibility. I don't know anything else about her, but that's what I always see."
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And Caretober, we'll get to it. We're going to
Yes,
talk. Can't miss that. Uh,
you can't miss Caretober.
absolutely. Well, talk to me about when things kind of weren't working out for you. You had said you'd kind of gone through these different paths and you finally made that switch and you were like, okay, we're going full speed. When things weren't working out for you, how did you kind of keep everything in check? I mean, I've since I've met you, I've always known you as such a happy and positive person. And what is it that makes that possible for you?
It's a lot of things. Like I would definitely say my husband. Like my husband is literally like he like harped into me like mindset stuff to a point I was like, sir, if you give me another I am statement, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm tired, I'm done with it. But he was really big. He was like, he always kept saying, he was like, your mind and the way you think will change your whole trajectory. If the way you think is positive, your whole life will be positive. If you think negative and you say negative words, it's gonna be negative. You're gonna have like you're gonna be down. And it's like it's funny because he was watching a Tony Robbins thing today, and he was like, babe, it's funny because ClickFunnels, in FunnelFlix, there was a speech that Tony Robbins did, but it was also the speech that kind of really made me shift. And it was what was it? It was at National Achievers Conference. And I was like, oh, Tony did the same speech, but it's okay. I'm fine with it. But he did this presentation and it was just so profound to me because he was talking about being in a beautiful state. And that like it found like all the things had finally clicked in that moment. And I was like, I can literally like engineer my life as long as I take a second, think about it, and then refocus. And I was like, so, and then I also, backstory, I have a degree in psychology, so I should have already known this stuff. But of course, like, until you get in it, you're like, okay. But then I'm like, I can't control what other people think about me. I can't control how other people feel about me. I can't control what somebody says to me. I can yell at you until my face is blue in the face and say, "Hey, turn to your left." And the only time you'll turn to the left when you choose to make that choice to turn to the left. And when I finally realized that, it seemed like everything was just so much easier. So I was like, so whenever it was about anything out, like external, I was like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. Like, I can worry about me. I can focus on what makes me happy. And if it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work for them.
Right. Yeah.
And that moment was like when things changed. Like because I used to be sad when like my friends didn't like show up the way I wanted them to, or like somebody might have said things that I wanted them to say, and I used to get so down about it. And I was like, why am I stressing out about what somebody else do, and I can't make them do anything that they don't want to do?
Yeah.
I can just be me.
It's so important, right? Like
Yeah.
we see it all the time. And I think as entrepreneurs, we're constantly working and coaching with people and trying to help them level up. And it's so amazing how often people are so tied to what others think about them and to what others are
Mm-hmm.
saying or doing or how they're acting. And one of the things it seems like entrepreneurship certainly forces upon us is we have to get very comfortable with this. And you were talking about being consistent earlier and being present and visible, and just something like posting on social media, right? And being present is hard because people are worried about what others think of them. And
Mm-hmm.
seems like that it all keeps coming back to
It's a it's a circle.
there's circle again. You were mentioning Tony Robbins earlier, and I have followed him for years. We love the stuff that he's done for all of us in the business community because what a leader in the field. And he always says something to the effect of the quality of our life is the quality of our communication. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people always focus on what that communication is outwardly, how we speak outwardly to other people. But in so many instances, I've found that the communication that we do to ourselves internally and how we talk to ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, how we treat ourselves is so valuable and important. And so when I'm lucky enough to speak with great entrepreneurs such as yourself, I'm always curious what it is that you're saying to you that helps you keep going on a regular basis. What do you say internally that keeps you going and keeps you positive?
So there is so funny. My husband actually gave this to me, but it's a prayer that he gave me, and it's not, of course now the day is the day I can't remember it. Is what is it? Oh, but it's talking about like spiritual awareness, and it's just like me kind of knowing that like everything that happens in my life is not by coincidence, it's by like external forces kind of coming in and like placing things in my life. That nothing happens for nothing happens just because it just like happens. Everything happens for a reason. And the fact of like me and the I am statements, like there's a whole thing, and it's actually in my journal. I did a journal last year, and it's actually the statements that my husband gave me, and it's I read it every day, and it's like I am love, I am wealth, I am health. And I didn't realize the power of I am, because he was like, you gotta read it, I am. The power, you have to say I am. You just can't say I am and do all the things. And I realized like when you say I am, you're talking to yourself. And when you talk to yourself, your subconscious will always say yes. And I didn't realize that for a long time. So if you're saying, oh my gosh, I suck at this, your subconscious say, yes, you suck at it. So your subconscious is always going to say yes. So if you say, oh my gosh, I'm amazing at this, your subconscious is like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're amazing. This is what you do, yes. But if you say, hey, life sucks, nobody likes me, no, nobody likes you. Yes, you're right. And I'm like, wow. So if I just say positive things about myself every day and say, Carrie, you're the boss, you're the biz, and I'm like, yes, you're the biz.
That's right. What would you say to somebody? Because I get this a lot too. Like, what would you say to people that are like, that's just a bunch of like airy fairy, like mumbo jumbo, like you just saying positive affirmations. Like, why?
When I say I did not like I am a product of it. And it's so crazy because if I turn back 2 years this was not me. Like I was definitely the one like this person did this to me, this person did this, they did that. And it was just like my husband, he just kept saying, he was like, you can't keep talking negative about yourself. You can't say, I can't, I don't believe, I don't think I can. He said, you can't say that because your subconscious will say that. And it's like, just try it. And I even had my nephew, I said, like, because my nephew, he sometimes struggles with this type of stuff. And I said, tell yourself that you're amazing. And I said, say it out loud. And he was like, I'm amazing. Say it again. I'm amazing. How does that make you feel? He's like, I actually feel good. He's like 11 years old. He said, it makes me feel good to say that. I said, so if you keep telling yourself that every day, imagine what will happen in 30 days, in 60 days, in 90 days, if you're telling yourself that you're amazing every day.
Yeah.
But again, that goes back to that C word that nobody
Painful, right? The consistency thing. Like, who wants to be consistent?
nobody wants to be consistent. Oh, here it is. It's in my head. I, Carrie Thomas, begin this day with thoughts of gratitude for the many ways that I experience harmony in my life in the form of fortune. Even seemingly simple events lead to better than expected outcomes. By these things may seem coincidental, I'm confident there's a higher part at play in my life. In the spirit of God, the fountain of life, love, grace, and harmony acting in and through my life. Tuning into the awareness of the source, I see that all things work together for good, and these memories align me with spiritual awareness and draw ever more positive events my way. I affirm my life overflows with blessings. Everything and everybody prospers me now.
I love it. That is that is so awesome. Like
I was like, it's always in my head. Like, where are you?
you broke under pressure, Carrie.
But my husband's like, he's like, you remember that? Like, cause he can't believe I remember. He's like, cause I had to say it every day. Cause he would message me like, did you say your prayer today? I'm like, yes.
I love that. Hey, you know what? You've got to get that to me. We gotta
Yes.
put it there because like I'm sure some other people would love to be able to read it, right? Because there's no way we're gonna memorize that off of just. I have to rewind that like 17,000 times to get that. But you'll send that to me, won't you?
Yes, I will.
That's awesome. I love it. And I know you've said that about 100 billion times, right? 'Cause you just all of a sudden it came to you, or like,
I was like, there it is. But now you see why I was like,
why is it not there? No, I mean, I so believe in it, right? Like, and affirmations are so huge, and I love how you put it because you're saying, your subconscious will always say yes, and it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad or indifferent. It doesn't matter. It'll always say yes, and so how cool is that when you start to realize that, and you start to realize how powerful you are? It's incredible what can be done with that. And these positive statements and the way that you communicate to yourself make such a huge difference and they have for so many people. I mean, it's for our athletes and our entrepreneurs and all of the successful people on the planet. They're all doing it. And that's why I love to ask that question, because you always know that there's something going on in there that is solid. Now, on the flip side, and I don't want to take it negative, but on the flip side, you've clearly learned how to start to deal with and manage and control these the two emotions that everybody's worried about, which is worry and fear. So how have you learned to deal with worry and fear?
um, I would say that every level, it's like I feel like fear and worry is like one of those things that like every time you make a step, like it pops back up again. And it's like, hey. So for me right now, like there's still times that like I'll have fear and it's the fear of like being successful sometimes. It's like, oh man, like this is I'm am I too new for this? Like is it like I've only been doing this like a year? Like am I moving too fast? Like those are things that will pop up sometimes. And like it'll make you stop and it'll like I'll be like, well, maybe I should calm down. And then that's when I have like my external sources, like my coaches and my husband that will come back and be like, no, like keep pushing, keep going. Like what you're doing is good. Like keep being loud, keep being visible. I'm like, okay, your message is more bigger than you. Okay, same thing. Same thing I tell my team. And it's like I just have sometimes I need that to hear that from other people because it will pop up. It's natural. Like it's not something like when you get to train, like, oh, I won't have fear or worry anymore. It's always gonna pop up. Every step you take, it'll pop back up again. It's like one of those like things like Halloween things are just like, boop, I'm here. You're like, I thought I got rid of you.
It's so true. It keeps coming back, right? And it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times entrepreneurs think it's going to go away. Like, oh, I'll make $1 million and then it won't,
And then it'll be
I won't,
done.
I'll be done with it. It won't happen anymore. And I don't think that's true. It's not how it works. It just,
It's like new levels, new devils, is what somebody told me
I
before.
love that. New levels, new devils. That's awesome. You know, I want to talk a little bit about, uh, over the last maybe year and a half, things have started really clicking in for you, as you said in your story earlier. And, what things in particular in your entrepreneur side of things have you really started to focus in on that have made the biggest difference for you in the last year and a half compared to, what you were doing previously?
Um, so one for me, like I would say definitely like me investing in a team. That was like one of the biggest things. Was definitely probably the scariest thing because I was definitely a bottleneck of my business for a long time. And then the fact, like I would say, getting a team and also delegating. So I got a team. I had a team for like 3 months and I didn't delegate anything. So they were just like doing nothing, and I was like paying like $20 because they were doing nothing. I was like, I would give it to them, I'll take it back. So definitely getting a team and delegating. And then the next thing I would say is getting out of my own way because I'm definitely one of the people, like I'm definitely like the high level overachiever person. So I'm the one that wants things to be like perfection before it goes out. And then I have to keep reminding myself, Carrie, everything can't be perfect all the time. Like you can get it close to it, but you can push it out and tweak as you go. And what happens is like, and this it's funny because like we are individual business. And I tell my clients, I was like, we'll push it out there to a point where we feel comfortable with it, but we'll tweak. A lot of times people push stuff out there, they say they're gonna tweak and they never tweak. We actually tweak. Like I put something out there, like a week later I was tweaking it again. A week later I'm tweaking it again. Because like I want to make sure it gets to the point of perfection or very, very close to it, even when it's out there. A lot of people put stuff out there and they're tweaking. I'm like, you gotta tweak it. You gotta still tweak. They're like, it's just out there. My valuable product. Valuable product.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because it's like you start to feel like it's your baby, like I don't want to tweak it. It's perfect just like it is, right? Who wants to change it?
Yeah, because like the templates, like we did the templates and we finished the templates. We put them out there. We already had them in another platform. We pushed them to Shopify. The team kind of like created like these template pages for them. And I told them when we did, I said, hey, I don't like this, but I know that if I wait for us to get it the way I want it, it's going to be another 3 weeks. So let's just push it out there like this, and then we'll tweak it. The team just finished the new pages, and now we're just going to be literally replacing it.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard. And I find that way a lot with specifically working with people with mindset is that they want it to be perfect the first time they try it. And I'm like, let's just take a step towards that direction,
Yeah,
like you said. And it's that we are a work in progress. I'm not expected to be perfect tomorrow. And I'm working towards that. I'm working
hmm,
being the best I can be, but I don't have to be that tomorrow. And I don't have to be that
exactly.
5 minutes after I hear this motivational speech that you give me, which might indeed be motivational, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be 100% the minute afterwards, and I think if we can do that with our minds, if we can do that with our business, there's so many cool things that we can accomplish, right? I'd like to jump into that next segment, which is our go-to emotions, right? This is our lightning.
Okay.
So we'll go fast. And so
Okay.
I'll give you a category and you give me the emotion that goes with it. So we're going to do our go-to emotions. When things are going well, what's your go-to emotion for that category? And when things are going poorly, what's your limiting emotion for that category? So here we go. You ready?
All
We
right,
got
let's get
this. All right. So first one up is in business. When things are going well, what's your go-to emotion?
um weird. Like I'm calm. Like I'm just
Nice.
very calm. I'm like, everything's cool.
Nice. And when things are going poorly, what's the limiting emotion?
Stressed. I get a little sad. I get sad. That's what it is. It's definitely a little sadness because I'm like,
Okay. And with partnerships, when you're in a partnership and things are going well, what's your go-to emotion?
Excitement.
Okay. And when
I
things
get
are going
excited.
poorly, what's the limiting emotion?
I get sad. I'm definitely a care bear, so I get definitely sad. I'm like,
Okay. All right. And you have mentioned today that you do coaching and you also have coaches. And so let's talk about when you are doing coaching, when you are coaching your clients and things are going well, what's your go-to emotion?
I get inspired by my clients. Like they really inspire me. Like when they're doing good, I'm like, oh my gosh, like them. Yay.
Nice. And when things are going poorly, what's your limiting emotion?
My what would I say? I definitely feel like I need to do more. Like I feel like I start grinding harder. So I'm like, they're gonna win. We're gonna figure this out
Dang
today.
it. You're gonna win.
We're gonna
I have
figure this
anything
out.
to do with it. I feel you.
Let's go on the call right now.
I love it. Okay, so that's when you are coaching. Now, when you're being coached, because you have mentors and stuff that work with you, what's your go-to emotion when things are going well?
I feel super motivated. Like whenever I get on a call with my coaches, like I'm like, I can face the world.
Nice. Yeah.
Walk on water. I can do all things.
And when things are going poorly, what's your limiting emotion?
I get sad.
That's okay. Yeah, for sure. All right. And relationship. You talked a lot about your man and the support that he is. Like when things are going well, what's your go-to emotion for your relationship?
Love, care, like excitement. If I can say, if he listens, he's gonna be like, she growls when she gets mad.
Well, good. We'll have to make sure he listens to the episode.
I can just hear him because I do like, I'm like, ooh. Are you about to bite?
All right. So is that your limiting one when things are going poorly?
That's
Yeah.
not
Okay. I love it. That's
all
awesome.
he would be like, here she goes growling again. I'm like,
Oh, geez. Okay. And do you have any children?
no, I have a niece though. I have a niece and that I homeschool, so she's pretty much close enough right now.
I see. All right. So with your kids, then, like your niece, when things are going well, what's your go-to emotion?
I get inspired, loved, motivated.
Yeah. And what about when things are going poorly? What's your limiting?
I think I growl at her too a little bit. Gets a little.
That's all right.
Math time gets a little rough. A little rough during math.
That's
Like,
awesome.
ma'am.
Well, it's always great when we're talking to entrepreneurs that have found success to go in and bring that moment where we can be kind of just real with all of the people listening that are aspiring to be in that great entrepreneur space. It's a lot of fun to be able to just show some of those emotions because we don't always get to. There's not always a platform, and we're always supposed to look like we have it put together.
Exactly.
So it's always fun. So I appreciate you sharing and being authentic with us. You always are. And, I certainly can't let you go today without having you shout out what it is that you guys are up to and what you're doing, how our audience can find you and get in touch so that they can learn more about what you do.
Yeah, so you can find me at brandingwithcarrie.com. Pretty much all that we do is we help people be present and increase their visibility through branding, like helping you create your high quality visual, strategic content, and all through branding. Oh, and I know you want to talk about Caretober too.
Oh, we didn't talk. Yeah, talk to me about Caretober. We can't not do that.
I know it's Carrie. Well, Carrie-tober's over, sadly.
I know.
Hmm.
Well,
I'm a
we
little
missed it
sad
by
about
a
it.
couple of days. We almost had
A
it.
couple of days, but I wanted, like, Carrie-tober was really important to me because at the beginning of the like in September, me and my husband were talking. I was like, I want to do something for my birthday. And he was like, what do you want to do? I was like, I really just want to like talk about all the people that I love and like who have made like some type of impact, who've like just done something and stuff. And he was like, well, what do you want to call it? I was like, I don't know. I want to just like Carrie Tober, Carrie something. And he was like, why don't you do Carrie Tober? I was like, Care Bear, Care Tober. Oh my! I was like, yes,
Perfect.
high five. So like we did it, and it was super cool because like it was really just me shouting out the people that I really cared about, but it turned into like this huge thing that I was not expecting at all. Of people like, oh my gosh, Carrie, like, how do you do relationship marketing? I was just talking about the people that I like, and they're like, yo, Carrie, this is like amazing relationship marketing. Like, can we have you on a call talking about relationship marketing? I'm like, okay.
Sure.
Sure. But lately it was just like, because my philosophy is, and I was on a call today talking about it, is I was very lucky to meet people who fed into me very early on and kind of just was like, Carrie, you're great, like just giving me that motivational thing. Because of course my husband would say it, but you know, like whenever it says, oh, it's like external forces of people who are not in your circle, like you sometimes believe them more, and you're like, oh, you think I'm great too? Oh. So with them telling me that, I was like, it made me feel so much better, and I felt like I could do things. I was like, well, I can do this if these people think I'm great. So when Carrie-tober came around, I was like, I want to do that for other people. Like, I want to highlight these people and share these people with the world, because like these people are so great. These people have made such a big impact in my life, and I just want to share them with the world. So like we were able to share, I think, 24 people. Things got a little tight at the end of the month. So some people didn't come, and I told people, turn this to my head, not to my heart. Like, there was a lot of people that I wanted to put on there, but I was just like, because they were so long, like their stories were so long that like by the time like I was writing, it was like 30 minutes of story, and I was like, oh my god, so many. So, but I was definitely, it was definitely a really cool experience. I'm excited for next year. Like I told Emmanuel, I was like, maybe we'll do like Carrie-tober t-shirts and
Nice.
water bottles, and I was
We're in. We'll help. It'll be an epic movement. I think it's awesome.
I know. That's what I thought too. I thought it would be super cool.
Well, we'll make sure to put your link in the description below, and everybody out there listening, go check out the link, and we'll make sure to send them your way to find out more about what you're up to. We sure appreciate you, Carrie. You're doing some awesome things over there, and definitely an inspiration to the entrepreneurs that are out there. So thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, lifers, don't forget to get your free copy of the Every Minute book. You can find it at everyminutebook.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.